legacy of the girls' lives lives in everyone's heart forever.
Their life ended. Tonight we are here to remember how their lives were lived.
I feel a lot of empathy for Whitney and what she's going through right now.
3 little girls, Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker, went to spend the weekend with their father in Washington state. It was supposed to be a normal custody visit. But by Sunday night, none of them came home. Days later, all 3 were found dead. The man they trusted the most, their father, was gone. What went so wrong inside that house? What signs were missed? And why did no one step in before it was too late? This story will break your heart. But more than that, it'll make you question everything you thought you knew about family, trust, and the justice system. If you're into real crime cases that deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button. We upload a new video every 3rd day, stories that must be heard. Let's take a closer look at the tragedy that stunned a nation. The Decker family wasn't always in the news. Years before the tragedy, Shannon Decker and Robert Decker were just 2 young parents trying to make things work. They had 3 daughters, Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia. Each just a year or 2 apart. At first, things were calm. But as the marriage wore on, so did the tension. By 2020, Shannon had filed for divorce, citing emotional instability and threats from Robert. The court granted her primary custody, but Robert still had weekend visitation rights. Despite her concerns, Shannon never stopped the girls from seeing their father. She believed they needed a connection with both parents. Friends and family later said that Shannon often felt uneasy before those weekend visits. She'd pack their bags, give them hugs, and pray they'd be home by Sunday night. But nothing ever seemed serious enough to raise legal red flags. Robert, on the other hand, struggled. His life was a revolving door of job losses, anger issues, and what some described as a growing obsession with control. Still, no one expected what would happen next. The court system trusted him. The law gave him time with his daughters. No one saw what was coming. It was Friday, June 14, 2025. The last day of school before summer break. Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia were excited. Their backpacks were stuffed with crafts and goodbye notes from classmates. They were headed to spend the weekend with their father, Robert Decker, just like they'd done many times before. Shannon packed their bags like always. Extra clothes. Toothbrushes. Stuffed animals. She gave each of them a hug, kissed their foreheads, and reminded them, "I'll see you Sunday night." But Sunday came and went, with no sign of the girls. At first, Shannon thought maybe Robert was running late. But calls went unanswered. Texts were left unread. By 9 p.m., panic started to creep in. She drove to his house, but the place was dark. No movement. No lights. The next morning, she filed a missing persons report. Police did a welfare check at Robert's house and found nothing unusual, no signs of struggle, no blood, no damage. But the girls weren't there, and neither was Robert. Detectives pulled surveillance footage from nearby gas stations and traffic cameras. One image stood out, Robert's car heading west at dawn on Sunday morning. Alone. The girls weren't in the vehicle. Within 48 hours, the case had gone from a routine welfare check to a full-scale search operation. Missing posters went up across town. Volunteers walked miles of wooded areas. Helicopters scanned the back roads of rural Washington. Still, no sign of the girls. Everyone hoped it was a misunderstanding. But deep down, Shannon knew, something was very, very wrong. It was Wednesday morning, for days since the girls had disappeared. A fisherman walking along a quiet stretch of the Columbia River, just outside Clark County, noticed something strange tangled in the reeds near the shoreline, a plastic storage bin, half submerged, sealed shut with duct tape. He thought it had been dumped illegally, maybe full of tools or trash. But as he got closer, the smell hit first. Then he saw a small, pink sandal floating nearby. Within the hour, police arrived and opened the container. Inside were the bodies of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker, ages 9, 7, and 5, each wrapped tightly in blankets, positioned like they'd been laid to rest together. The scene shook even the most hardened investigators. Autopsies would later confirm the unimaginable: each child had been smothered, likely with a pillow, before being placed into the bin. There were no signs of drugs, no physical wounds. Just silence. The girls had trusted their father. He was the last person they saw. And now, he was the only person missing. A statewide manhunt was launched. Robert Decker's photo was plastered across news outlets. Tip lines lit up. Some reported sightings near the Oregon border, others as far as Idaho. But no arrest came. For days, he vanished like smoke. At vigils held for the girls, hundreds gathered with candles, photos, and stuffed animals. Shannon didn't speak publicly. She didn't have to. The pain on her face said everything. The question that haunted everyone was simple. Why would a father do this? What was Robert Decker running from, and what kind of darkness could make a man turn on his own children? After nearly 8 days on the run, Robert Decker was spotted at a roadside motel near Boise, Idaho. A sharp-eyed hotel clerk recognized him from the news and quietly alerted authorities. When police moved in, Robert didn't resist. He was found alone, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at a photo of his daughters. No weapons. No attempt to flee. Just a man already defeated. At the press conference that followed, investigators revealed what they believed had happened. Robert had recently lost his job. He was behind on child support, drowning in debt, and had a long history of controlling behavior toward Shannon. In his warped mind, if he couldn't control his family, he'd destroy it. The trial began 5 months later, and though the courtroom was packed, Robert showed no emotion. Not when photos of the girls were shown. Not during Shannon's testimony. Not even when the judge read the verdict. Guilty on 3 counts of first-degree murder. The sentence was life without parole. For Shannon, it wasn't justice, it was survival. She said in a short, trembling statement. They were my everything. He took them from me, but he won't take what's left of me. The public followed the trial closely, but few could truly comprehend what had happened. A man trusted with the lives of his daughters had become their killer. It left a wound on the community, and on the heart of every parent watching from afar. Robert Decker never explained his actions. No note. No apology. Just silence. And for many, that silence is the hardest part to live with. After Robert Decker's conviction, Shannon moved away from Washington State. She couldn't bear to stay near the memories. Where school backpacks still hung by the door and 3 empty beds waited every night. She started a foundation in her daughters' names, the Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia Foundation, aimed at supporting victims of domestic violence and giving struggling single parents access to legal help, shelter, and mental health support. The girls' photos still hang in her home, and she lights a candle every year on their birthdays. Not because she wants to relive the pain, but because she refuses to let them fade into a headline. The Decker children killings weren't just another case. They were a reminder of the fragile line between trust and danger. A warning about unchecked abuse. And a call for early intervention, before silence becomes tragedy. Today, Shannon speaks at schools and domestic violence shelters. She tells her story not for sympathy, but for prevention. If it helps one person speak up, she says, then my girls didn't die for nothing. The community in Clark County still remembers. Each year, a park nearby hosts a candlelight walk in their honor. It's quiet. It's raw. And it means something. Because what happened to those girls should never happen again. If this story moved you, please don't scroll away. Like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep these voices heard, and their stories alive. We upload new true crime videos every 3rd day, real cases, real impact. Stay safe. Stay aware. And always trust your instincts.